Is this slop safe to eat? The young petty officer's harsh voice cut through the mess hall. Clean uniform, scowling face, fork-tapping plastic tray. Hey, old man, are you going to add peas or just stare? Some of us have things to do. Tony Maxwell, bent with age but steady in spirit, didn't flinch. His hands, worn but firm, scooped peas with calm precision. Pale blue eyes met the officer's glare without response. He served unbothered. The petty officer groaned theatrically, sneering, "Thanks. Amazing, this base runs with civilians like a retirement home." Sailors in line avoided eye contact, pretending not to hear. Tony moved on smoothly, unshaken. He'd heard worse. But the petty officer lingered, mocking. Bet he shuffled papers 20 years? Got this cozy job? Some hero, he laughed harshly while his friend looked uneasy. A lieutenant, clipboard in hand, noticed the holdup and strode over. "What's going on?" The petty officer pounced. "This server's slow, sir. Bad attitude. I made a simple comment. He's been glaring since." A lie, but effective. The lieutenant saw only a disruption. "Is this true?" he demanded. Tony set down the spoon. "Just serving food, sir," he replied evenly. "That's not what I heard," the lieutenant snapped. "We expect professionalism, even from contractors." "What's your name?" "Tony Maxwell," the lieutenant puffed up. "We don't like your attitude here. This is a military base. You're slowing service." The petty officer smirked, emboldened. He pointed at Tony's rolled sleeve. A faded tattoo showed wings and a skull. "What's that, old man? Some biker gang?" His sneer echoed. The sound dragged Tony back, Huey blades pounding. Jungle air thick and wet, dust in his eyes, rifle in his grip, tattoo fresh and black on young sunburned skin. It wasn't decoration. It was a brotherhood forged in fire, a vow. The vision vanished, but its weight remained. Nearby, a chief petty officer, eating lunch, froze at the mockery. He knew tattoos like that weren't ink from a shop, but scars from uncharted places. He studied Tony's steady hands, his calm. Fear tightened his gut. This lieutenant and petty officer were making a grave mistake. The lieutenant pressed on. "Mr. Maxwell, come to my office. We'll discuss your employment." Tony followed, silent. Inside, the lieutenant issued his verdict. Termination, security escort, hints of cognitive decline. Tony stayed calm. He'd endured worse. Just as the lieutenant reached for the phone, the office door slammed open. Admiral Miller stood framed, aide and master chief at her side. Authority crackled in the air. The mess hall outside snapped to attention. The lieutenant blanched. The petty officer's smirk vanished. Miller ignored their salutes. Her eyes locked on Tony, dropped to his faded tattoo, softened. Her voice dropped. "That mark, I've only seen it in classified briefings." "Unit 734. The Ghosts of the Delta," she ordered his file. When it came, she read aloud, "Navy Cross, Silver Star with oak leaf clusters, Bronze Star with Valor." Gasps rippled. These weren't decorations for routine bravery. They were legend. She closed the file. "Your unit was missing 6 days. You carried 2 wounded 30 miles through enemy territory." Silence pressed down. She turned her gaze on the lieutenant and petty officer. "You have 2 options. Resign today or face court-martial for conduct unbecoming and humiliating a national hero. Choose wisely." Then, turning back, she saluted Tony Maxwell sharply. "A 3-star admiral saluting a mess hall server? It is an honor, sir." Tony met her eyes, still calm. He spoke at last. "Respect isn't in uniform or rank. It's in the person you are, earned every day." "You didn't earn it today." His words struck harder than any punishment. Tony's words hung heavy. The lieutenant looked ready to collapse. The petty officer shrank with shame. Admiral Miller's glare pinned them, but she softened toward Tony. "Mr. Maxwell, on behalf of the U.S. Navy, I offer our deepest apology. What happened is a disgrace." Tony glanced at the 2 men. He didn't see enemies, just youths lost in arrogance. "Respect," he said calmly. "It's earned daily, not given by rank. A memory surged, 19 years old in a jungle clearing, sweat and gunpowder thick in the air. Beside him, his friend Frank tattooed the skull and wings onto his arm. Their vow inked in pain: never leave a brother behind. Frank never made it to extraction. The tattoo was Tony's scar of that promise. The fallout was immediate. By sunset, the lieutenant and petty officer were gone, resigned before facing charges. Word of the mess hall scene spread like fire through the installation, told in barracks and break rooms. Admiral Miller made it policy. Every staff member would train in Navy history and respect for veterans. At the next base ceremony, she asked Tony to be guest of honor. He refused gently. No parades, no applause. Just his quiet work in the mess hall. Weeks later, the petty officer, now reduced to cleaning duty, walked across the lot after shift. He saw Tony leaving the bus stop, moving steady, eyes on the horizon. Shame burned. Apologies were useless. As Tony passed, the young sailor simply stopped and gave a slow, deliberate nod. A wordless admission of guilt, recognition, and respect. Tony paused, met his eyes, and returned the nod. Forgiveness, silent and complete. Then he walked on.